Hey everyone, I'm here with Kevin Kang, who is a First Step Coding alum. He went to our Boston class in 2018 and is now about to start at Flatiron's online web development bootcamp next week. So this is early January 2019. So yeah, thanks for joining us, Kevin. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Just taking time off from work. I start classes next Monday, and I'm excited to do this interview with you.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. And for those of you that don't know me, my name is Callie and I lead enrollment and student success at First Step Coding. So I'm just going to ask Kevin a couple questions about his experience with First Step Coding and getting into bootcamp in general. So, Kevin, if you're ready, let's dive right in.
All right.
So, before joining First Step Coding, you worked as an immigration paralegal. So, how did you become interested in programming initially?
So initially, I've always been like interested in technology, but I never really delved into computer programming. There's always something I was in the back of my mind. I was always kind of interested, but I never took the time to actually learn it. And like since I'm an immigration paralegal right now, the current immigration climate's a little crazy given all the political stuff going on. So my job's been like crazy for the past year. So I thought it was like a good time to change because my original path was I wanted to go into law school. So I've been working for the past 4 years, and once I got in, my original path was to go to law school. But then the longer I stayed there and the longer I worked, I just thought that law school wasn't, I guess, the right trajectory I wanted to go into. I've talked to some people. So in the past year, I changed my mind. I didn't want to go to law school, and I decided. It took me some time, like a month or two, to figure out what I really wanted to do. And I was talking to my girlfriend, and we kind of came to the conclusion that maybe learning computer programming, being like a software engineer, might be the best option for me. So yeah, and then once I decided that, that day I actually applied to First Step Coding, and then now I'm gonna go into Flatiron Bootcamp next Monday. So I'm excited. I think it all worked out at the end. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. So my next question was going to ask just what your decision making process looked like for learning to
Mhm.
code. So, did you were you considering any other prep courses, or did you just find first step coding and decide to go with that?
Yeah, so actually, my original plan was I wanted to go straight into a boot camp. I didn't even know this prep boot camp thing was a thing, to be honest. So I remember I came back home. I was like really frustrated that day, and I was just venting. And then my girlfriend was like, you should like look into doing other stuff. And then that day, I looked into like what different types of boot camps I might go into just to do some research. And then I think I was on that this boot camp rating website. I forget what it's called. What
Maybe
like
switch
one of
up.
those. I think it was Switch Up. And I was looking at like boot camps around Boston, and then I saw First Step Coding. I was just like reading the description, and I didn't even know that the pre boot camp thing was a thing. So I looked into it. And I was like, oh, this is perfect because one, I was kind of scared to go into a boot camp because I do have a couple friends that did do boot camp, and they said it's like a big commitment, takes a lot of money. So I was reading the description, and it was like literally perfect, like everything I wanted. It was short commitment. It was like 2 months, and then just to see if I like it, because I didn't even know if I would like it, because I didn't have. It was just this idea of programming that I liked, but I didn't really like try it. So the fact that I could just see if I like it without giving like a full 6 month commitment to actual boot camp. Um, and it was also nice because I wouldn't have to quit my job just to see if I like coding. And also I saw that you guys partnered with boot camp. So if I did eventually decide to make that leap to a boot camp, this I felt like was a perfect like stepping stone to go to a boot camp. So then I saw that I looked into the class and I signed up for the October class, and there was one spot left, and I think I signed up that day. And then from there, I took the 2 months, finished it, and it was a great experience.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're happy with your experience. Do you have any takeaways from just going through the first step coding curriculum in class?
I like the fact that it was an on-campus class. I took it with four other people in Boston, and it was like a 10-minute walk from my office job, so that was very nice. So I'll finish work, go there. I believe it was twice a week. I believe it was twice a week, yeah. And for me, the biggest benefit was that it actually showed me that I do like coding. I think that was the most important thing and the most like thing I'm most appreciative of First Step Coding is because I saw what it took to be a software engineer, and I've also learned the basics on what I needed to do to become a software engineer. And that 2 months flew by. I learned a lot. I learned all the basics that I needed to know. We mainly delved in JavaScript, um, and it also helped me see that this is the right path for me in the future. This is something that I could actually get into. This is something that I could actually like. This is something that I could see myself becoming a career. Um, so it's nice.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, and then just show me that I had to like code every day to stay on top of things. And in the end, I'm glad this was like my first step into a boot camp, because I do feel more prepared to go into a boot camp, and I do have a base understanding of everything I need to know before just learning things online by myself. Because for me, I need that sort of discipline structure. Like I could try to do it by myself. I mean, obviously there's a lot of things online, but for me, I like the fact that it was curriculum, there was structure to it, there was instructors that were there to help, and the fact that there was other people learning there too. So you could do pair coding, try to figure things out together. So overall, it was a great experience.
Awesome. Cool. Yeah. So, just in general, how confident were you that you wanted to pursue a career as a software engineer before First Step Coding versus afterwards? I know you kind of talked about how you came to that decision to
Mhm.
try out boot camp, but is there anything else to share there?
So yeah, so like I said, it was always kind of, it's like a little thought in the back of my head that software engineering might be what I wanted to get into. But I actually never researched or delved into it. You know, uh, and I was too, I think the past year I was a little too hesitant to go into a boot camp straight away. Um, like because I have a good job, I have all this. But then after I did first step coding and I actually learned the, basics of coding, it made me more confident. It actually made me want to go like straight into a boot camp. So I think once I graduated, I when did I apply? I think I applied about 3 weeks after I graduated, I want to say. I was looking into various boot camps. And yeah, so I was definitely more confident. I was definitely more prepared. And I was prepared for, if a technical interview was there. And also it was cool because the people at First Step Coding were willing to help me out with any questions that I had. I was talking to them about which boot camps I want to go to, which boot camps they recommend, which, like, what I need to do to prepare for a technical interview. So yeah, overall, it's made me more confident and actually made me want to go into a boot camp more so than before I did a first step program.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so just to talk more about that whole process of getting into a coding boot camp, what boot camps were you considering and what ultimately led you to decide to go with Flatiron's online program?
So mainly, I was looking at boot camps, like on campus boot camps around Boston. I took a look into the reviews, talked to some people, and then I kind of broadened my search out. And the three I landed on was App Academy, Flatiron, and Hack Reactor, because I think those three I've heard the best things from. I also had two friends that did App Academy. I did one friend that did Flatiron, and my instructor for first step coding was actually from Hack Reactor. So I talked to them, try to figure some stuff out. Um, so from those three, the only problem with those three is that none of them are in Boston, which is a problem. I was originally gonna go to New York City, maybe like stay at a friend's place for like 4 months, but that kind of fell through because I don't think anyone wants someone living in the house for 4 months. Um, and then I tried looking into like rent, and I'm already paying rent in Boston, so I didn't want to pay rent here, then pay rent in New York City, and also New York City is like known to be very expensive. So I landed on going into an online program because I think that's the best match for my situation at the moment, considering the money and everything involved. So then I looked into the online programs for each place. So like, App Academy, Flatiron, and Hack Reactor. And I saw that we get the money back from the Flatiron online program. So that made me, side more towards Flatiron. I took a look into Flatiron. I talked to the people, the recruiters at Flatiron, and I talked to my one friend that did Flatiron. He did the on campus program, but he said that it was one of the best things he's done. What was that? One of the best things that he's done. And he's telling me that the curriculum was solid. So I took a look into that, and I think I decided Flatiron was the best option for me in terms of the online web development program. And I also did their pre-boot camp or like boot camp prep work. And I like the way that their whole curriculum online program was designed. There's like steps, different classes. There's like people always online to help answer your questions. So yeah, that actually helped. That made me, more confident in my choice of Flatiron. And I remember you also uh, hooked me up with one of the FSC alumni, Samson,
Mhm.
which is funny because at first when you like hooked me up with him, I was like I talked to him and then I reached out and then I realized that I actually met him before. He was It was
Really?
really bizarre, yeah, because he used to live in Boston and he was like my roommate's girlfriend's friend and he was over our house a couple times and then like because I looked him up and I saw him online. I'm like, oh, I know this guy, and I talked with him and then yeah, it was just bizarre because I didn't realize he did first step coding or Flatiron, so it was
Yeah.
a weird little connection. But yeah, and then he did Flatiron online program and he was telling me all what he did every day, and he helped me decide that Flatiron was the right choice to make.
Wow, small world.
Yeah, small world, seriously.
Cool. Um, yeah, that's great that, even before you're starting Flatiron, just going through their prep work, you have a
Mhm.
really good feeling about their program and you
Mhm.
already feel good about your decision, which is awesome. Love to hear that. So what was your interview process like at Flatiron, and also if you interviewed with other boot camps, and did First Step Coding help you prepare for those interviews at all?
Yeah, so Flatiron was the first one I applied to, so I just sent them an application, and it basically outlined what I learned, what my basic understanding of coding is, and also what my previous experiences was, like what I'm coming from. I sent the application out, and then I was gonna do another application for, I think, Hack Reactor the next day, but then Flatiron reached out already, and they had a recruiter to come contact me, talk to me about some stuff. So then we set up a Zoom interview, and that this basic interview was basically just to figure out what my motivations were for learning, for like wanting to learn how to code. And I also talked about my current job right now and why I wanted to switch careers. I think so. I was also expecting a technical interview, but from what the interviewer stated was that all these things that I had beforehand actually made it easier for me to get accepted. So they didn't need me to do technical interviews because I think I did first step coding, and I showed that I was doing other things on the side to help learn code. So I think what they wanted more was to figure out my motivations to code, just to see that if I am motivated to do this, more so than like having a technical background, because I think everyone could learn how to code. I think they just wanted someone that they knew wouldn't quit halfway through, just have like a base motivation to like continue doing what you got to do. So I did that. Then they reached out a week later saying I got accepted to the program, put my deposit down, and now I start in a week. So yeah, it
Awesome.
wasn't too bad. I was expecting a technical interview, and I think if I did the technical interview, would I would have passed considering all the stuff I learned in first step coding. But there wasn't one. I got accepted, and it worked out.
Yeah, that's great. Cool. So yeah, you said so you are starting next week. Can you talk a little more about the prep work and kind of what you've been doing between first step coding and your start date for Flatiron, and
Okay.
just what you've been doing to prepare?
Yeah. So when I graduated first step coding, I was looking into different boot camps to get into. So during that time, I wasn't really staying on top of my coding that much. However, once I got into the Flatiron program, they mentioned that I would have to have done about 100 hours of pre-work before my class. I think that was giving me like 2 months before I actually start. So I've completed about 85% of the 100 hours. I'm still working on it here and there. And I also did their bootcamp prep, which goes over the fundamentals of Ruby, JavaScript, and HTML. But then they have a separate one for web development fundamentals, which I think I should have done first, but I just wanted to do the bootcamp prep just to just to go over some stuff, some other fundamentals. So I've been working on the web development fundamentals for the past month. And the pre-work was mainly focused on Ruby, which is something that we don't really go over in first step coding. However, the things I learned in first step coding in terms of like JavaScript, the methods, arrays, just different jargon that, I think carries over to different programming languages. It applied to various portions of the Ruby exercises. I also did the pre-work almost every day. The hours depended on, how much hours I spend on my job. But I usually try to do about 6 hours on Saturday, Sunday, and then however many hours I can do from Monday to Friday. And I felt pretty prepared to go into this Monday class. I just gotta see what they give. I'm not sure what the curriculum is actually gonna be. I think they sent out an email today saying like, we'll send you more information, but it's gonna be online, and I'm excited.
Nice. Cool. So just in general, so far, what has been your biggest challenge while learning to code?
Uh, my biggest challenge was not getting frustrated. Trying to figure out how to code some stuff. I mean, inevitably it will happen where you get a problem and you don't really know how to figure out the code. You search on Google, go for like 3 hours, and then you get frustrated. I realized like I work on it for as long as I can. Don't get frustrated because I'll eventually find the answer. I sleep on it. I wake up the next day, work on it again. I realized sleeping on it has been helping me a lot. Going back with a fresher mind as opposed to after like 5 hours of working on something, go back to it, and I eventually get it. So I've realized I shouldn't get frustrated at not knowing how to do a certain thing because there's obviously a lot of things that I don't know how to do. Um, just it'll just take some time. You'll figure it out. And that's what I've realized in this past like 3 months of coding is like there's a lot of stuff I don't know. I'll figure it out eventually. Just don't get frustrated. Don't get angry with it. Um, Also, I guess another part with this is also with the time too is like I see the answers to other people's code and how they solve the problem, and it's like 2 lines and mine's like 15 lines, and I'm like, oh, how'd they do that? And then I just realized it's like my code's longer, it's more convoluted, but that also comes with time. Just learning how to write some stuff, write it smaller, cheaper. I mean, easier, and it all just comes with practice. Biggest challenge also was staying on top of it every day, doing it every day, which sucks most of the time, but in the end, it's worth it. Just gotta stay disciplined to do it. And then I guess right now the biggest problem I'm having is I would learn all these separate concepts, but then I would have trouble putting it all together into like one exercise. So like currently I'm doing something with Ruby. I learned all these like different methods, but I'm having some trouble trying to like piece it all together. But I think also that'll come with time. And yeah, I think those were the most difficult ones. And I think that's going to be like, the difficulty going into coding, but I think I'm prepared.
Yeah. Yeah. Coding is a challenge. So sounds
Yeah.
like as long as you're up for it, you'll get through it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So last question. Do you have any advice for other people that are interested in making a career change into tech or software engineering?
So my advice would be that, make sure this is something you really want because it is going to take a lot of your time. It's the same mentality as like, going to like a school, graduate school, law school is like, this should be something that you really want. The reason I did not go to law school is because I realized that's not something I really want to do, like something I did not want to put all this time into. And I kind of want to focus that time into learning how to program. Another thing is, you have to work at it every day because it's something where like if you don't do it for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because like that 3 week gap between from when I graduated first step coding and I started doing the Flatiron bootcamp prep, it did take me a little bit longer just to get back into things because I did forget some things. I had to look up some things. So my biggest advice is just do it every day. Even if it's something little, just staying in that mindset of wanting and learning to code, how to write things, that'll help tremendously. It's also going to be difficult and time consuming. I've talked to like a bunch of friends that did boot camp and they all said, it's like one of the hardest things they've done, but it's also very rewarding. So my advice is maybe just change your thought process on how to do things because you just got to kind of accept that it's going to suck for like a year, maybe. Probably you're not going to be able to do like things that, you want to do. Like you can't go out as much. You can't spend money. You have to be like always studying, but in the end, it's going to be worth it. And then just realizing that, don't get frustrated because it'll come with time, like everything does. Everything just comes with time, just doing it every day, just being disciplined with it. So that's my advice for anyone trying to get into tech. Just gotta do it a lot, like everything else in life. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great advice. Cool. Well, that's all the questions that I had. We are very excited for you. to start at Flatiron next week. And thank you so much for just taking the time to chat with me and share your story. But yeah, keep in touch, and we wish you the best of luck.
Thank you. You too.